I, the shadow of war. The skies above Cael'thara burned with the remnants of a battle that had lasted decades. Smoke rose in spirals from shattered cities, and the once gleaming crystalline towers of the Thryssan Empire now stood jagged and fractured, reflecting the dying light of 3 twin suns. King Orath Valkyra stood on the balcony of the palace he had barely held together. His armor, ceremonial yet battered, bore the scratches of past conflicts. He stared down at the empty training grounds where his daughter, Princess Aeryth, had once mastered the art of combat. Lost to the battlefield, he muttered. The words had become a mantra over the years. Every advisor, every general, every citizen whispered the same. She had died. The great warrior princess, heir to the throne, destroyed in the final engagement against the human invaders. The humans had left the planet years ago, retreating after their own costly defeats. Yet Orath had never felt peace. The war had ended, but his grief had not. He walked through the palace corridors, memories of her laughter and sharp wit echoing against walls that no longer gleamed. He had mourned her publicly, built statues, conducted memorials, and even began discussions to select a new heir. But every ceremony, every decision, felt hollow. And yet, somewhere deep within him, a flicker of doubt remained. 2. The arrival. It was an ordinary cycle, as ordinary as anything could be on a planet still recovering from war. King Orath was reviewing supply logs when the alarm sounded. They were unlike any he had heard before, a deep, resonant vibration that shook the palace. Guards sprinted to their stations, and Orath himself activated the defensive shields surrounding the central city. A human vessel descended slowly into the inner courtyard. It was sleek and utilitarian, its hull reflecting the crimson sun, but unlike any human ship previously encountered, this one bore the emblem of the Interstellar Peace Accord. Orath frowned, recalling that no humans had been on Cael'thara for years. Then she appeared. Princess Aeryth stepped from the vessel, tall, armored, and undeniably alive. Her hair, streaked with silver from years in exile, glinted in the sunlight. Her violet eyes, sharp and aware, scanned the courtyard before settling on her father. King Orath's breath caught. He blinked. 1, 2, 3 times. Aeryth. She approached steadily, flanked by a human, an earth-born soldier, tall, with the confidence of someone who had survived more than one war. Every guard instinctively reached for weapons, but Aeryth raised a hand. She is not alone, the human said calmly, and neither of us wishes harm. Orath stepped forward. His voice, usually commanding, faltered. You survived? I did, father, Aeryth replied, her tone both gentle and firm. And I bring someone who helped me survive. The human stepped forward, bowing respectfully. King Orath Valkyra. I am Lieutenant Adrian Cole, of Earth. I have served your daughter and earned her trust. The palace erupted into murmurs. Whispers of shock, disbelief, and awe traveled the corridors. The princess they had mourned, the warrior they had claimed lost forever, had returned, not just alive, but with a human by her side. 3. Tales of Survival. The evening was spent in a private council chamber. Aeryth recounted her story in vivid detail, the battles she had survived, the treacherous factions that sought to claim her life, and the humans she had first encountered in exile. The human, Adrian, had proven his loyalty repeatedly, protecting her from predators and helping her navigate hostile territories. The Dominion is fractured, she explained, and I have seen the danger that arises when leadership is absent. Earth's warriors taught me not just survival, but strategy, diplomacy, and trust in unlikely allies. King Orath listened, torn between relief, pride, and suspicion. Every word she spoke reminded him of the daughter he thought he had lost. And every mention of the human soldier ignited a spark of caution. How could a human earn the trust of a Thryssan princess, the heir to the Empire? I understand your hesitation, Aeryth said softly, but Adrian saved my life countless times. Without him, I would never have returned. And the Dominion will need both of us if we hope to restore it. Orath's advisors whispered among themselves, debating loyalty, tradition, and protocol. To many, the human was a potential threat. Yet, as Orath observed Adrian, he noticed a calm assurance, an unyielding courage, and an unwavering respect for his daughter's sovereignty. 4. Confronting the court. The next day, the princess and her father entered the main hall of the palace to face the council. Members of the Thryssan High Order had gathered, generals, ministers, and ambassadors, all expecting to see a mourned princess enshrined in memory. "Father," Aeryth began, "I am alive, and I have returned not to reclaim the throne in secret, but to restore what was broken. The Dominion is weak because we allowed fear to dictate action, and I have learned alliances are stronger than isolation." A murmur ran through the chamber. One counselor, Lord Thale, stepped forward. "Princess, you have returned with a human. This is unprecedented. How can we trust him?" Aeryth's gaze sharpened. "Because he has risked his life not for power, but for loyalty. Because he has proven that courage is not confined to species. And because if we cannot accept the assistance of those willing to defend the Dominion, we will fall again." Adrian stepped forward, kneeling. "I offer my service not to rule, but to support. My loyalty is to Princess Aeryth and the stability of the Dominion." Orath felt a wave of pride mingled with unease. A human, a species once considered invaders, was now standing as a protector beside the heir to his empire. A father's test. Orath took Aeryth aside, away from the council. "I must understand why you survived while your guards and soldiers perished." Aeryth recounted the battles, the ambushes, and the treacherous liaisons she had encountered. Her experiences had tempered her in ways the palace could not understand. "You have grown," Orath admitted, "and brought with you a perspective I never expected. A human perspective." "Father," she said, taking his hand, "I have returned not only for you and the Empire, but to prove that life and loyalty transcend species. I am the same princess, but I am stronger because of what I endured and who I trusted along the way." Orath's chest tightened. His daughter, once a girl who had run through the palace halls chasing butterflies, was now a leader tempered by fire and exile. 6. The council's decision. Weeks passed. The council deliberated. Many were hesitant, resistant to the idea of an alien princess allied with a human. Some feared it would set a precedent they could not control. But when Aeryth spoke to them, recounting the battles she had survived, the political plots she had uncovered, and the vision she had for a united Dominion, the tide began to turn. She did not speak of vengeance, nor of retribution. She spoke of survival, loyalty, and strategy. The human beside her demonstrated his discipline, courage, and understanding of her culture. Slowly, the council began to see what Orath had. This alliance, though unconventional, could save the Dominion from further decay. The final vote was unanimous. Aeryth would reclaim her position as heir, with Adrian officially recognized as her protector and advisor, a human integrated into the highest ranks of the Thryssan Empire. 7. Rebuilding the Dominion. Years of war had left scars across Cael'thra. Aeryth, guided by her experiences and the Council of Adrian, began rebuilding. Cities were reconstructed, infrastructure restored, and fractured factions reconciled. Together, they implemented a new strategy for governance, combining Thryssan discipline with human ingenuity. Former enemies became allies, and the lessons of survival taught by humans were woven into the Empire's military and diplomatic protocols. The people came to respect the human soldier not as a conqueror or outsider, but as a hero who had proven his loyalty time and again. And Aeryth's return was celebrated not only as the restoration of a princess, but as the dawn of a new era for Cael'thara. 8. A father's pride. King Orath watched the changes with cautious optimism. His daughter, once presumed dead, now stood at the center of a revitalized empire. He watched her interact with the council, the citizens, and Adrian, and he finally allowed himself to feel hope. "Do you trust him?" he asked Aeryth one evening as the twin moons rose over the palace gardens. "I do," she said. "Because he trusts me. And because we are equals. That is all the trust one need." Orath smiled faintly. "Then perhaps your legend was never meant to end in death. Perhaps it was meant to teach the Dominion that survival, loyalty, and trust are stronger than grief and fear." 9. Legacy of the Fallen Princess. Generations would remember the story of the princess who was thought lost forever, only to return with a human by her side. It became a tale of courage, resilience, and unity across species. Statues were built, not only of Aeryth, but of the soldier who stood beside her, a reminder that alliances could come from the most unexpected places. Children were told, legends are not only about heroes who fall, but about those who rise again, and the choices they make in the face of impossible odds. For King Orath, the greatest lesson was simple. Even when all seems lost, the bonds forged through loyalty and trust can defy death, war, and legend itself. And for Princess Aeryth and Adrian, their story had only begun. Together, they would guide the Dominion into an era of unprecedented peace, understanding, and exploration, one that would echo across the stars for centuries to come.